What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the True Church of Jesus Christ, where this Latter-day Saint sitting in time and space, showing off transcendental knowledge full of stool and urine after he ripped out the sacred book, the Holy Bible, from Dracula's hands, after going into his castle and fighting off his many deep monsters and his many labyrinths. I have fought and have retrieved the Holy Bible. And we're going to be talking about the Judgment Day of the Lord in this video. That's mostly what I got inspired to talk about today. And not so much in like a heathing ranting mode where, you know, all that stuff, right? But try to expose what's going on in our times and how you can correlate that to the outside world and also what's going on in your inside world and how you have to go to God. You have to follow the way, and the way will clear you up. Let's put it that way. And if the more deeper you are on the path as well, too, upon the way, then the further you go, like if you're, let's say you're a gym goer, right? But you're just a casual. Oh, that's the worst term for people nowadays. So let's say you're like even in the MMA world, right? Oh, you're just a casual, or you're just a casual fighting fan, or just a casual gamer. Oh my God. So you don't want to be called a casual nothing. You can't be a casual in God's religion. You can't just be a filthy casual, man. What you got to do is dig deep, throw your feet right into the void, and follow Lao Tzu, and the way will lead you to Jesus Christ. Because you're going to have to worship a spiritual master anyways, first. You're going to have to prove yourself in order for the great I am to reveal itself to you, so you can walk into Dracula's castle and do battle with the great evil. And the great evil isn't oneself, actually. The evil is rooted all from the disobedience in the Garden of Eden. See, there's a mystery. There's two mysteries. There's the Pistis Sophia mystery from the Master after his resurrection, and then there's the Bible's first mystery, which is basically Adam and Eve. The first mystery is them disobeying God, and God threw them out of the garden because, yeah, why would God, the all-compassionate, the all-merciful one, throw out and after that just treat them like harsh pigs, give them the coat of flesh, and throw them into darkness? This material world is called darkness. It doesn't exist. So that's where he threw them. That's why in John chapter 1, he is the light. The Savior is the light that enlightens all men and shines in the darkness. And the darkness can't comprehend. It doesn't understand when the transcendental Word of God, known as Jesus Christ, appeared on this earth in the glory of God through the 3 years of his ministry. He was preaching transcendental truth, the transcendental gravy for those that are spiritually reborn. But most people could not understand the great truth that he was speaking, and some of the living waters that he was preaching when the woman could not draw from his well. She didn't have the bucket filled up here. She was looking at her with the bucket like, oh, what waters, sir? I am the transcendental truth. Yeah, exactly. What waters? The emptiness, the void. Uh-oh. That's chapter 1 of Genesis. See, that's why I open up this book, because King James at least got it right a little bit. But we're going to talk about the audacity of man towards his creator. And he ain't following the way. He doesn't know any Tao. But in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form. See, formless, void, empty. Oh, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That's the love of God, the waters. That's also found in the Bhagavad Gita too, the transcendental waters of God. And out of the lotus spring of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman spout forth out from the lotus spring of the waters of God. What does all that mean? What does all that mean? What even to Genesis chapter 1? Out of the formless void and emptiness, the Spirit of God goes through the waters. That's why man he's audacious. In this day and age, he's a blasphemous sinner. And he's using technology. He's using technology in the case of his own intelligence. So I'll talk more about, try to explain more about the supercomputer, which is not a transcendental fact, but it's also a material fact, is the fact that now, see, here's a little thing. In Canada, what we got to do over here in Canada is, if we want to go to our Tim Hortons and play roll up the win to winner, like basically play the game using the coffee cup now, We have to have an app on our phones. And I don't have a phone. So what am I going to do? I can't play roll up to what the I can't play anymore. They singled out guys like me. The what the hell is that? You can't play these roll up the win the burbs anymore because you don't have I don't have a phone. I don't have an app. So this is the supercomputer now. Why would everyone need an app now to actually just purchase a beverage, just to participate? See, if you want to participate in most things, get on the app, sign up with this. Well, what it's doing is it's tracking basically what people buy, because obviously the apps have within it suggestions and menus. So all you have to do is just click this and click that, and all of that clicking that you do. Let's say now let's go to McDonald's. All right, this is where I went today. Let's go to McDonald's now on their computer, right? You can walk in there and you can order a coffee. So you click in medium. What do you want in your coffee? 2 sugars, 2 cream. All of that gets tracked on a server. Everything you do gets saved. Why? Because it's on an app. Just because it appears to you through a big clunky McDonald's screen, it doesn't matter. Everything is on a server. See, that's one thing too. All apps are on a server, so they're getting stored somewhere and fed to you from the internet. This mysterious internet that appears just like the mind of man. Where did the mind of man come from? It came from the nothingness, this mysterious void. But where did it come from? That's the more penetrating into the mysteries. And the internet's the same way. No one knows where it came from. The internet also is like the externalized point of man's consciousness now, because he can connect himself to a computer, and every want and desire is on this computer. And even just the basics, like you want a coffee. Oh yeah, now you have to go through a computer. Why? Because it tracks people's consumption. What are they eating? What are they drinking? What are they doing? And everything is tracked on an app now to track your habits and behaviors. And that might seem it might seem harmless. But what it's really doing is it's feeding this supercomputer. And remember, artificial intelligence was created to track the patterns of money, of the stock market, in order to avoid catastrophes. So there was a scientist that said that basically like numbers are the foundation of the universe. And through, like you could say here's an idea, like the Fibonacci sequence, how numbers go in a successive pattern. And now man has technology to track those successive patterns by number. Because he thinks that the nature of the universe is numbers, science. That's not the truth. The nature of the universe is the word, the Vedas. So he's practicing ill religion with his technology now. He's basically saying that, not like Pythagoras. Pythagoras said that everything in creation can be just correlated to number. You can understand it by number or pattern. That's why he developed geometry to such a way where you can understand and discern forms. Not only that, but it's on a larger scale of discerning periods of time. Like in 50 years, this will happen. Why? Because now he's so good at discerning patterns and forms. And geometry, math, numbers is just the practice to discern patterns and forms in nature. So that's why Pythagoras was a number mystic. He used numbers in order to try to track the progress of thought in consciousness, what the flow of, you see, like fortune telling, what's the future and how you do it. And here Pythagoras had the way, and this guy in the 19th century, I don't know his name, it's from the documentary though, Century of Self, and one of Adam Curtis's work. This guy thought he was brilliant because he found that numbers were correlated to universal patterns. And see, that's modern man. He's an ignorant fool. Men have always that thing that Pythagoras knew was from mystery knowledge hidden from the public for so long. That's why the Freemasons were master builders. Why do you think the Greeks, if you look at some of their buildings, they've built like a effing palace on top of like a mountain out in the middle of like an ocean. There's like a pillar, a rock, you could say like 30 yards away or from land, and there's a palace on top of it. How do you do that? They didn't have any helicopters or what the. There's marvels in this world. And how did they do it? Because man was very smart. Well, not very smart, but he had the knowledge of the angels. The angels on the book of Enoch gave him the knowledge to freaking perform these miracles of making a palace on top of a rock and a pillar of nowhere. Man, there's marvels. Building, because man had mastery over numbers. And nowadays, there's this eggheads who think that they're smart. And they're like, oh, numbers and patterns and what they don't, man, that's why modern man is a blasphemous sinner towards his creator. And so this guy, because of the patterns that he discerned, now because of numbers, he's like, oh, what if we make a computer? See, man's not, like, let's put it this way, like the algorithm, like 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 times 10 times 11, man's not fucking smart enough to do all that shit. But a computer is. So that's what it does. It basically just calculates patterns. That's all a computer is. Through zeros and ones, that's how a computer basically operates and communicates with just the binary code, as they call it. Zeros and ones. And all throughout zeros and ones, this is how you're seeing me. Okay? Basically, how you're seeing me is the process of intricate patterns of just zeros and ones and signals firing off these points of zeros and ones to create this image and form of even what you're seeing as me through the screen. So everything is all done by the binary code. And you have to basically know the pattern of the binary code in order to produce results in a computer. So that's language. You could say like C++, JavaScript. That's language of the computer. Now, how to manipulate form and effect in machinery, in a computer. So how it produces colors, how it produces images, and not only that, since this is a live feed, all these things happen simultaneously, and the information has to be processed from me to YouTube, and then to all these different streams or sources, you could say, but it's all from just basically the interaction and communication of zeros and ones. And this guy, back in the day, he kind of knew that numbers can be associated with patterns in nature, and they wondered if they could do that with money. And they wondered if they could apply numbers and patterns with the stock market, and it worked. It produced an effect. And that's how the basis of artificial intelligence was created. Now, since man can discern patterns with money, that's where consumerism, you see, started flowing money into just economics. Why? Because they could better track patterns of how the flow of money will be directed towards whoever it wants. So how do you take money from people? You have to give them a way to live. So that's when they created the American dream. And they linked basically consumerism. They want people to be a certain way. So that's what propaganda is. Make them a certain pattern, which is the American dream. A husband and a wife and a house and a 2-picket fence. So that's a pattern of living. And how do you get people to live our pattern now? Well, you have to entice them with material sense gratification. It's Bhagavad Gita, buddy. This is where we get into spiritual science. That's when the world leaders knew about sense gratification. So how can we make people funnel their earnings, their money into, well, it's not like, it might sound, it's simple to corporate. The business just got bigger and bigger and bigger because they could just lead the sheep around to whatever consumerism they want to do. And nowadays, see, it all had to develop first, from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. By the time the 70s hit out, I think that's when humanity was more like in the germ of technology, because they were doing impressive things then. And that's when now you have more like, see, computers were like the size of a fucking apartment building back in the 40s. They were like giant buildings that basically can perform a function of a laptop. That's and then over time it just progressed. Now you have like the cell phone is just a modern marvel. If you were to bring a cell phone back to someone in the 40s, they're going to be like, "What the fuck is this?" That's that's like astronomical, so far ahead. See, man progressed in technology very fast by trickery. And how did he do that? Where did this technological sorcery come from? It came from his discernment of the atom, actually, and progressing technology that way. Ah, but here's where man cheated. See, in the stock market crash of the 19th, see, he didn't want this stock market crashing anymore. Man's a smart animal. He doesn't like this stock market crashing at all. So when it crashed, everything, they didn't have any money to further this science to crack the atom. So that's when they just started printing. They're like, fuck it, let's just print money for free. We got to keep this system going. They didn't anticipate that, I guess. They didn't. So that's why they put their faith in technology. They didn't put their faith in God. Oh man, and he put his faith so much into technology because that's just how man is. He's a scared animal. He doesn't want any catastrophes happening. And there's the push for power. He had to keep going because the other side of the world, this fellow known as Hitler, was also trying to do the same thing. And they had to do it. There was no fucking way they could suck money out of the people anymore. If they were done, the people were killed. They were trying to kill the bankers at that point because they didn't have any money. So where are you going to get this money from? That's when, from the 30s on to the 40s, war, they say, is what rebuilt the economy. That's all horse crap. What rebuilt the economy was them just printing money for free. They had to keep doing it, or else what are the people going to do? The people had nothing. Oh, what they could do now is just build guns and bullets for World War II because they have to keep this power structure. They are forced. They have to do it. You don't understand. It was vital for them. They have to do that in order for them to win this war, this power struggle to crack the atom. The atom is the most important thing man has ever done, and it's the struggle for that. And when he did it, he won. At least the American. Well, yeah, he won anyways. Whoever did it, whether the Germans or the United States, man did it anyways. Picking sides is irrelevant. So at this point, man did it, and now he relied on technology because he did a fucking mystical feat to him. He cracked the atom, okay? And man's consciousness, now he thought he was the fucking God on earth because he did a technological marvel. and now this is how man he just put, you know how like when someone runs real fast away from the cops and they put all their strength and effort into running away? Well, man did that into technology. He just pumped everything into technology now. And because of that, he tried to avoid catastrophes. He didn't want this, and the most important, he didn't want this thing known as the stock market to ever crash on him again. Because money, this is what this world is controlled off of. See, the master says, the prince of this world. I haven't even opened my Bible yet. I was going to preach everything today, but I guess I can do another video about that. But this is more, I guess, this is the Tower of Babel. This is what I really wanted to get into as well. This is why the Lord wasn't too thrilled with humanity back then. So at least I could get into humanity's audacious ways. And I want you guys to think about this supercomputer idea. Because everything is now on an app. They're tracking people and how they consume items and all that stuff too. So they're better able to predict and control where they want consumers like us to spend our money. It's all about money. They don't give a fuck about nothing. All they want to do is to control your ways of generating money and giving it back and giving it away. That's all they fucking care about. And they have a computer now to better track that because now everybody is basically hooked up, forced to, in order to buy a friggin' coffee at Tim Hortons and play roll up the rim to win. Blah, 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 blah. You gotta freaking get it. I have to buy a computer. I have to buy a computer known as a cell phone. Cell phones are not cell phones. A cell phone is a computer, people. That's what it is. You have to stop calling this device a cell phone. It's a computer, and you have to buy a computer. And it's pretty. I ain't buying any of these things anymore because last time I went, and everyone should have a laptop. See, I'm old school. I'm like Cranky Kong in Donkey Kong Country. Oh, these friggin' kids should have a PC because that's what I grew up with 20 years ago. There wasn't any such thing as apps and cell phones and all this other freaking crap. I grew up with a PC and a laptop, and that's all us kids had back in the day. And if you didn't have that, then you're a freaking loser. Now everybody has that. So now if you don't have that, like me, I don't have a cell phone. So I'm a heathen, buddy, compared to society. I'm just a in society standards, I'm the heathen. Well, I don't have any of this stuff, people. And it's because I followed the way. I knew man's trickery. And I had faith in my teachers. See, man's just an evil, sinister beast. And all he wants is that money. He doesn't care, and he's trying to get it. And now he's put all of his faith into technology to guide where this spending, this consumerism is going. You could, you know what? You could do anything online. Buy you could fucking buy like $10 million property and hustle it off like fucking just whatever, man. You can do whatever you want on this friggin' thing nowadays. You don't even need, man. Oh, yeah. Virtual fucking technology now. When I went to the library, there's an app you could plug yourself into to make the room virtual reality. And what that means is I could just sit here, right? Plug into this virtual reality system that they have at the library. It's not like a helmet you put on. It's just an app. And what that app allows me to do is not even leave my seat. I could navigate the library in real time through this virtual reality device. I was like, man, this is friggin' awesome. But, see, this is the trickery of man. He wants your mind now totally away from this physical world. You don't even need the physical world anymore. Now, what he's doing, he's trying to be doing this. He's going to make everything virtual reality. You could just focus your mind on this virtual reality, and you don't even have to move around. Your fucking device moves around in virtual time and space. They're trying to make time and space virtual for you to focus your attention on. They're taking you away from this material world and really making it seem, oh, that's a spiritual fucking... I just made a spiritual conspiracy theory. Just straight up. No one's ever heard... I did this myself. This is what weirdos do when we're heathens in society. As now man is making you focus so you don't even need a physical body. Why would you need a physical body anymore? Now you could be so wrapped up in technology. I could sit on my ass right here, and if this virtual reality programming becomes a little bit better, you see, this is just a thing in the library, a feature in the library. But if they make that feature forever, like it's just a feature in the library, just imagine if it becomes a popular feature, like everything else becomes. This is like test. So if I have a virtual program, a virtual mind, basically, it'll just literally be called some app, and it's a virtual mind. And then you could plug in to, I could plug into like anywhere afterwards. I could plug this virtual mind out into like, let's put it local here. My McDonald's is 10 minutes away from my house, right? So I don't have to walk anymore. I could plug, let's call it Microsoft Virtual Mind, buddy. Or Gary's Mod. For the old schoolers out there. Let's just call this fucking thing Gary's Mod. And Gary's Mod, literally now, you plug in Gary's Mod, and you're looking through Gary's Mod, and you could walk to your fucking McDonald's through your Gary's Mod and do everything electronically. You could just, you don't have to literally walk there, but you could through Gary's Mod. You could probably just teleport there. Just like location, search this and go. And the virtual mind will take you there, and then you can navigate wherever the fuck you want in Gary's Mod. You don't need a physical body. Why would you go out and vacation anymore? You have Gary's Mod. You could go. They're trying to make this creation technologically accessible. And what that's a danger of is taking man away entirely from his material body, making it useless. People already the material body has to be worked. and it's already ignored. It's ignored extremely because now people can rely on technology, like unhealthy people. Instead of getting healthy, well, technology's right there to tell you you're crippled, and you can walk around and not even walk around. Here's a fucking thing you could drive around now. You don't have to get healthy. You don't have to improve nothing. Here's a little bit of technology. Fly yourself away here. So man's physical body is almost becoming useless. He's not going to have a use, and especially when the robots start coming out at the grocery stores and shit like that. Why would you need a Walmart greeter? You don't need any of that. All you go in there, you buy your crap, or not even. You have robots come to you, and you're like, serve, give me this. I want milk, eggs, cheese, and whatever. And the robot gets it, and fuck. It's like, once this society becomes more technologically advanced, you don't even need people doing nothing anymore. You have a virtual mind called Gary's Mod, Microsoft Gary's Mod. Now you fucking Gary's Mod yourself over to Walmart, and you virtually pick out what you want in fucking Gary's Mod. You don't even have to walk anymore. I straight up, dog. You heard that coming from me. Virtual prophecies. Virtual prophecies, dog. They're going to make a Gary's Mod, literally, and you don't even have to drive a car anymore. Dude, what would you need a car for? Just for leisure, pleasure. The average people like me, all of a sudden now, technology is our fucking way of life. You can do everything by that. Job? What jobs? You have fucking robots doing everything. And all the companies that don't, like all the factories where I came from, the fucking guy won't even repair his machines after 30 years. Now all those guys are going to get fucking shoved under the rug because they can't come up to, now this is industry standards. And if you can't meet the industry standards to you, well, that's easily the government just like, hey, this is what we want to imply. You can't follow this way. Get out of here. It's very easy. And that's what it is. It'll... That's the progression, you see? And if you don't follow the way, it's going to... Now, man's way is all technology. He's blasphemed towards his creator. He's put his faith all into technology. And here's the thing with what man did in the past with the Tower of Babel. How man was a... we're hitting up in the half-hour mark. Anyways, but he did the same thing before. He tried to blaspheme his creator anyways. Not put too much faith into God. So Genesis chapter 11, the one language. And this is after you defeat Dracula. You get this kind of book. And the whole earth was of one language, and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Now this is Babel, verse 3. And they said to one another, Go, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they had for mortar. And they said, Go, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. Verse 5, confusion of the tongues. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one tongue. They have all one tongue. And then this they begin to do, and know nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. So now, because as Bhagavad Gita says, man is given the divine consciousness. God knows this, and he's basically saying there in verse 6, they all have one language, and they begin to actually think all and cooperate together, and God's like, nothing now is impossible to them. They have the means, God knows that because they work as one, nothing is going to stop them towards what mankind wants to do. And he's going to forget his creator. See, in this rendition, it seems like God's a bad guy. Oh, why doesn't he want humanity with one speech and working together and this and that and the other? And the Lord confused their tongue and scattered them away. Basically made all the languages of the earth and stuff like that afterwards. And it seems like the Lord's like the bad guy. Why would he do that to humanity? Why is God such a bad guy? Oh, you know why? Because humanity's a jerk. And it all starts with him, buddy. There's a book called the Book of Jasper. And guess what? You know, Nimrod, the story of Nimrod is like taken out of the Bible. This is why man has fornicated around with the Bible so much. He doesn't understand what the book of Jasper is, which is where most of these stories came from. Well, not it's just missing books. So there is in that chapter 11, Genesis, the Tower of Babel is literally 5 or 6. It's like 10 verses. The whole in the Bible. In the book of Jasper, it's like 15 chapters of what Nimrod was doing. You know what man was doing with his one speech and his one tongue and working together? You know what they were saying against God? Oh, come, let us build this tower now and we'll attack that. This is what Nimrod said. We're going to attack God in heaven and his angels. That's man's audacity. See, first he didn't understand Lao Tzu, maybe. I don't know if Lao Tzu was around in Nimrod's day. He didn't understand the infinite invisible, maybe. I don't know. That's why man is that's why God blasphemes. This is all about going to be the judgment day of the Lord. And yeah, that's why the second coming of Christ. And all this isn't just stories and fairy tales and fantasies. Let's put it that way. Enlightenment is real. God is real. And his only begotten Son and his scriptures are also real as well. And this is why man is getting judged. Because man's always a jerk. They didn't tell you that story where Nimrod said, let's go storm heaven. Let's go beat up God and his angels. See, this is man and his fornicating ways. He wants to go storm heaven, and he thinks he could just build a tower to the heavens. That he's going to get... Where is this God in this heaven? See, man doesn't understand even that. Where did he even... That's an interesting concept as well. Where did man get this idea that God is in the clouds of the heavens, sitting on the throne with his holy angels, and we're just going to build a tower in time and space, in material creation? We're Book 2 of Ezra says, I've made 2 worlds, this world and the kingdom of God, and it's not in the clouds. It's the ancient Tao. It's the way, the invisible, the infinite, the immortal, before men have even conspiring to go into the clouds and try to fight God and his holy angels. There was the Tao. So how did man in this... That's why God smited this tower. Because where did man get these corrupt, ridiculous ideas? That's one thing even I'm sitting here asking the Lord, where the F did he get these ideas from to begin with? To try to attack the infinite invisible. That's why, what kind of fornicator is this man? I didn't understand. I still don't understand. Because, like, we're taught that God... You can't get it. You can't listen. You can't hear it. You can't what are you going to get? Where is this God in this friggin' heavens, mankind? And it's still fornicating with that idea that God's in the clouds. That's another thing. The great I am is somewhere in time and space, in material creation. That's not what we're taught, at least. That's why God was like, what is this guy doing, this fornicator known as man, whose breath is in his nostrils? The audacity of mankind trying to attack me on my throne. And they were trying to throw things in the sky, like arrows. God said they would point their arrows in the sky and try to hit their angels. And that's why God's just like, I'm going to smite you with all the smiting I could possibly smite you with. And that's the judge. That's why man's putting his faith into technology, and that's why he's going to get smitten. It's not because of God. It's because of his own ignorance. His own ignorance. If man doesn't follow the ways of God. He follows a ruthless method of gathering money from all the other unintelligible worldlings that don't know fucking jack shit about life, man. Straight up. Everyone's following the technology. They're going to be on this virtual shit because it's cool. So, in order to follow the way, it is cool, but you can't. I don't want to go buy a fucking phone so I can go order a coffee and play Roll Up the Rim to Win. I don't think so. I'm not buying any of that nonsense. And I'm sick and effing tired too of ordering a coffee at the fucking at the computers as well too. I don't appreciate that. But at the same time, I wish if I'm gonna do that, right? Order my own coffee on the kiosk, and pay for it, then I should be able to make it too. I don't want anybody making my coffee. I want everything just doing myself. Once society's like that, I just want me, my, and myself. You see this? Bhagavad Gita tells us this: gates to God are closed if you always worry about this I, me, and mine. That's the contaminated consciousness, the false ego, and the three modes of material nature: mundane good, passions, and ignorance. So what's good for me? And this time I want all things myself. I want everything to be just like what technology is now, for me. I want everything for me. No one's gonna, and I got a military to fight everybody else that doesn't agree with me. I want everything done my, me, and my way. Everybody wants things like that's not life. That's what your oppressors made you into, this now technological prison that they're going to make a virtual reality out of. They're going to extend their vision into technology and have man just totally live by some virtual prison. And he's going to think it better too, because it might get so advanced where it's like Star Trek and like the Next Generation, where you're like the virtual reality room. That'll be fucking awesome. That's an excuse to come back to material creation. Like if I was in the kingdom of God and I was like, God's like, I give you a mission and you have to go here, there, or the other. And I'm like, well, if I have to go back to Earth there, at least they'll have virtual reality. Hopefully they'll have a room where I can just fornicate with girls, Lord. 30 of them, 40 of them at a time. Just keep replicating girls. It won't matter because it's all an illusion anyways, and I'm not doing any wrong. They're not even real girls. So that's what man's going to be doing. Just like, that's another thing, hypnotized, just like the Lord mind. Now this is the second mystery of Genesis. The Lord mind fornicated with Eve. It tried to, and that's what made like an evil race. It got hypnotized into a false sense of what basically it tried to defile, which was the image and likeness of the transcendental Eve. So from the kingdom of God. And it tried to fornicate now with the rib of Adam, the Eve that it created. And it tried to fornicate with itself. So that's the psychology as well of man. See, that whole point of replicating 30 girls and just fornicating with them. He's just fornicating with himself. This image of Eve in his own mind. Remember the deficiency of man. If I'm a male, what do all males... That's the counterpart of life. That's what some ancient Greeks found out. That some of them were hell-bent on basically a singularity. Like only strife exists. And other people viewed that only within strife there's peace. And then some people viewed that, you don't need any strife, you just need peace. So where does man come up with these concepts anyways? He's not rooted in the one power. He's still, even in his psychology, even in his philosophy, rooted in the apple, two powers, good and evil. And he can't discern. He doesn't have enlightenment, especially certain thinkers. Most of the European thinkers of old didn't have enlightenment. They didn't walk through the Tao. They don't have any of those concepts. That's why Lao Tzu uses those words: darkness, enlightenment, chaos. So that's what if God gave me like another plan, and he's like, go down here, I'd choose Earth if they had like a Star Trek virtual reality room, just so I could just fornicate with like 40 girls at a time. That's the only fun thing about Earth, Lord. This place sucks. What man's been fornicating about, creating his virtual reality now. His virtual reality, printing fake money, making everybody else miserable. This place sucks. That's why we're waiting for the judgment day of the Lord to make things better. And that's what I was going to talk about, is the Lord's plan is to make things better under him, under his way. This is why he made his scriptures. But you got to believe in the scriptures. So I'll do it. That's a talk for today. That's a talk and a half. More about man's supercomputer. This is people are interested in that topic and they want to know a little bit more. So all you have to do is just, you know, study in your experience. See how people are using and depending more upon technology. Now cars are driving themselves. Like women are falling asleep on the road while the car's driving themselves now. That's another thing. Like now people, like I told you, they're not even using their minds and body because now technology's taken over. That's a perfect example. If you guys are sticking around to the 40-minute mark, this is how technology is really controlling people. They don't have to apply any effort. What effort do you need now? I seen it on like a Facebook clip of like people having accidents. Almost had an accident because this person called the cops and got her off the road because she was sleeping in her car. Well, it drives automatically. She doesn't have, these people don't have to use their mind or their body anymore for nothing. For driving a car, going somewhere in time and space at an X amount of speed. You don't even have to apply thought. That's why this lady was sleeping in her car. That is the audacity of man, even today. And it's just see, this is what I'm trying to say now is people are benefiting tremendously upon technology and relying on it so much that just your common slob is falling asleep in highly advanced things that he doesn't even know how to operate or use. He relies on it now like a little baby cradled in a mother's arm. So now this woman's sleeping inside high advanced ideas and technology, and she doesn't even know what's propelling her, but her own ignorance. She's falling asleep in a car, driving itself now. So that's what I mean. Man's mind and body is going to be slowly useless. And it's already making people that way. Lazy-minded, lazy-bodied, and then totally relying on technology now. The common slob is sleeping in their cars while it's gently coasting them along in traffic. What the... See, that's man's audacity. He doesn't even have to use... That's crazy. I would never want to be on the road, especially with the madness already. And then you got people in automatic cars just sleeping. So, that's man. He's totally relied on a box to basically live his life. And you can't be doing that. The life, the truth, and the way is in Jesus Christ and the Tao with Lao Tzu. You got to be following the way for the life, or else you're going to be stuck in virtual reality. That man is literally trying to create a virtual reality. So thanks a lot. I like talking about this is mysticism, but you can see the technology and how man is progressing forward. These ideas aren't too radical. You could go to the library and witness the virtual reality app in your library and walk and navigate around in the virtual reality of your library. It's already there. It's not like I've made up that. I'm just maybe exaggerating how man would depend on it and rely on it and actually unfold in that manner. And to me, I think that's what he's going to be doing anyways. Now just imagine, let's say like a robot programmed with Gary's mod. See, robots don't have a vision right now. They can't see what they're doing. It's all guided by sensors and lasers. But as soon as they have that virtual mind, they'll be able to see reality like a camera through them. So maybe robots, it's like they can't see, but they'll be navigated by virtual reality or a virtual mind. So that's what they're really trying to do. They're making a mind for the robots. You know, that might sound crazy, but that's what they're doing. A virtual mind for the robots, for them to navigate around and basically be like humans. And they're probably going to, just like a sci-fi movie, maybe replicate human beings. You know, but they're going to be robots anyways, right? So why would they do that? Why would man want now to make something that looks like himself? Man's always stupid. Like, why would he do that? Why would he want to make a robot that looks like another man? Because he's unimaginative. That's why. He won't make something that just make a little bit different. No, that's what I told you about man. About making up mythologies. He's not an imaginative person. All of that imagination comes from the Spirit of God. Because man just fornicates around and sleeps in cars. So thank you guys for tuning in. Take care.